Hey guys, it's Marcus here. This is White Knuckle, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you a guide to every room in this region. If you haven't played White Knuckle before, it's a pretty good climbing game that I'd highly recommend playing the demo of, which has a ton of content that you can play considering that it's literally free. If you have played the game before but have only played for like 6 or 7 hours, I'd suggest you just keep playing the game until you've beaten the campaign like twice. That way you get to like see all the rooms for yourself before they get spoiled, which while there isn't that much to spoil, I think learning to play the rooms yourself is also quite fun. Making the routes for yourself and stuff. This guide is mostly for people with like over 40 hours in the game, but if you have a bit less experience, I will try to accommodate that with alternative routes for some of the more difficult stuff. For speedrunners who think they already know everything there is to know, I'm sure you'll be able to find some things in these videos that are helpful, and you do not know what you don't know, you know? Alright, if you want to follow along in the game, I put the command for generating these rooms in the description, and if you want to know which room you were in during a run, you can just press F5 and it shows at the bottom left. I also have the mods that I use in the description, and into the video. Alright, hello everyone. This is Air Exchange. This is the first room. In this video I'm going to be covering the 11 rooms of Air Exchange. You can see which room you are in if you press F5. I'm going to be using Fulbright. If you want to know my mods, I have a mod that shows chances, a mod that makes my commands instant, like I can make F5, no clip happen very quickly, and I can, what was my last one? Oh yeah, I have zoom. Those are all in the description. But that's about it. Air exchange is between 300 and 600 meters in the campaign, and sucks ass in my opinion. But anyway, let's get into it. So this is the first room, and pretty much you can either go up this tunnel directly, or you can take this side route. The routes have similar speeds. I think that this route is a bit more direct and a bit faster. However, you have to deal with these blood bugs. The reason why they're just standing still like this is because of the mod I have that makes spawns guaranteed and then shows their probability. This is where they spawn, I think, but it is around here and they do often see you, and fighting the blood bugs on these fans sucks, which is why a lot of the time people will take this side route. Yeah, fighting them with a hammer on this is really annoying, but anyway. Oh, yeah, easy, I missed that jump. But what you need to do here is a dino jump off of the fan blade to reach here with guaranteed rebar rope. Then you can just go to the end, like that. There's not really many spawns in this room, there's guaranteed food at the end. And then there's some item spawns on this side path, but I'll also just show the side path now. So you run through, this is a pretty low chance anyway, and these barnacles are also only chances, so I don't really plan routes around those spawning, so just run up to the wall like this. All of this stuff is guaranteed because it doesn't show the probability. Oh, well, it doesn't specify. So, yeah, you can just climb like that. That gets you here. There's a small chance at a food bar. It's whatever, wouldn't bank on it. You use one of the items that you got from down there. I'm just gonna pretend like I took a rebar or something and do this. There's some auto batons, you can ignore them. And you can just make it up here. It doesn't really matter which way you take. This route here is a bit faster, but this route here is a bit easier. That's about it. Okay, this next room, you can recognize it by like this right here, this little outward staircase. This one's pretty straightforward. You just like run forward. If you do want some items, there's 2 guaranteed food spawns here as well as a rebar rope. You can pretty quickly just go off there and then go back here. And then you just make your way up here. Maybe a bit careful with the fan. And then make your way to the side that has the rebar right there, because that gets you to the ladder, which is the fastest way to the end. Then from there, you just like grab off of the ladder to get you up here. On this opposite side, there is a food spawn, but if you want food, you can just go down to the platform here, because it's just a much quicker way to get the food, and you also get a rebar. So I'd suggest just from here going straight to the end. A lot of the rooms in Air Exchange are actually quite boring, but some of them are pretty interesting and have a lot of choices to make. This room looks quite similar, but it doesn't have that formation that I zoomed in on in the last room. Quite a basic one, in my opinion. Just go up the ladder, go up these handholds, press the button as soon as you can. There is a choice to be made here. Either you can wait on this platform and just go up this way, get you to the end like that, but there's a food spawn and then there's a grub I'll explain later. But alternatively, what you can do is you could have, after pressing the button, I'll just show you like this. You run across this and then you go here. There is a low chance at a food bar that you might want to check. And then you can just do a dino jump off the broken fan like that. Both of those routes take pretty much the same amount of time, not including if you go for that food bar, that takes a bit longer. But this route is a lot more difficult than just standing on it, waiting, and taking this route here. I take that first route I showed because it's just a bit easier. They take the same amount of time, and I like to make things easier for myself. But you can take this second route I mentioned, which if you have items like a boost or anything, it's pretty worth it. From here, if you do finish the room the first way I showed, you're going to see that grub, and you can very easily just check whether or not it spawned. It has like a 12% chance. Yeah, 12%. However, if you go from this other way, like off from this, you're not going to have as I'm messing this up right now. You're not going to have as easy a sight of it, but you can still see it. Yeah, I just recommend the first route I showed, but the second route's also viable. That brings us to this room, and this room is the mother lode. Up there, some very, very, very juicy stuff. I'm actually gonna abduct you real quick. Okay, so for this room, very recognizable by these broken ladders on the floor. For this room, you can either like go here or something and just throw some items to get up to this ladder, or what I like to do is just use a grub and then just climb diagonally like this, and voila, you get yourself 4 guaranteed grubs as well as 2 guaranteed injectors. What you can do from this point is go to the side that, if you try to recall which side has the broken ladders, that side's gonna have the exit. So you grab your stuff and then you go 90 degrees to the side that has the ladders, right? Something very notable for this room, if you're on hard mode, this is not counted as a secret area, so the mass will continue moving. Like in endless mode, even though I know that these are up here, I can't go for them because really you have only this much clearance between the mass and you, yet you have to go all the way up here, and that also triggers the mass's like chase function, where the further you are away from it, the faster it goes, which means it's moving really fast when you're up here, and then you got to quickly go back down here, all in that time. So in hard mode or endless mode, when the mass starts to go pretty quickly, you got to be very quick with this, or just give up entirely. Like, I think if you're maybe beyond 4,000 meters in endless, just don't go for this. But don't take my word for it. You can try it out for yourself. I haven't, like, I'm not a scientist, you know, I haven't completely determined what the exact possibilities are. Anyway. But yeah, just be careful when you're going for that secret that the mass doesn't catch up. after you come back down here, you're just gonna hammer these panels. There's a lot of these panels to hammer out in air exchange, and one tip I have for the hammer is if you spam it a lot, you see that it's not going that fast, but if I just hit at the exact frequency, it goes like almost twice as fast. Anyway, so that after getting those grubs and you're going through here, it connects you to this room. This room has two shortcuts. This one here and this one here, where you just go through these entrances and then out. What I would suggest is that you do take the first one here and then you don't take the second one. And that is because this first one has two pretty decent item spawns, a 1 in 4 chance of a food bar and like a 1 in 2 chance of a rebar. Usually I ignore rebar, but for this room in particular, if you throw a rebar downwards, it gives you quite a lot of upwards force, which is quite useful. What? Okay. And then from here, you just go upwards. This second skip, it just doesn't give you any items, it just takes you straight to the top. But the reason why you don't only take the shortcuts is because when you're in these shortcuts, you aren't getting the anti-gravity, but you are when you're here. So you can go a lot faster outside. So these aren't really shortcuts, these are really just... I don't know what to call them, but it's easier climbing, but then it's slower. Don't know what to call that. I'll just show you the route I take. You can do what you want here, but it's just, you know, what I like. So you can crouch. Actually, can you? Huh. I thought you could crouch over this box to get through this hatch, but turns out you can't. You can either hammer the box like that, but really what you should probably do is just use your hand and just move it away. Then you just go through here, you can grab your items. What I like to do is grab that like that, and then there is a 10% chance of an injector here. I'll typically just, when I'm like up here, I might look down for half a second and see whether or not it did spawn. If it does, then I go back and take it. If it doesn't, then I don't. And then I just get to the top. That's how you get the items, and it's also the quickest for this room. That's pretty much it. But then this room, you can see there that I slightly messed up. What you want to do here is get the momentum from the last room to get enough height to grab this, and then you can just go here. One little trick for these air exchange rooms where you like slightly overshoot a target, for instance, I do this and then I jump and I want to reach down here. If you press crouch, you can see that it instantly puts you a little bit lower. Sometimes that's enough to get you to a handhold that you otherwise wouldn't be in reach of. Some of you more observant viewers might see that there is some items up here, and yeah, there's two blink eyes as well as a note that pretty much just congratulates you for doing it. You can actually get there without cheats if you use a blink eye. However, in any like speedrun, you're just not going to see that because, I mean, it takes 2 blink eye uses just to even get through this fan, as well as it just being really out of the way, very dangerous, not quite worth it. Then there's also a box here, but I'm gonna mostly ignore the boxes because, as you can see here, they usually give you pretty trash stuff. But anyway, once you clear this way and you get here, you can just go through this tunnel, where this one's a lot more dangerous than the last one because there's a fan up here that will kill you if you're not in a low clip. What I like to do to clear this room is I'll grab this one, and then I'll grab this little dent in the wall. Okay, I had a little glitch with no clip there, but it's fine. Whatever you do to get to the button, what I like about this way is because either the button spawns on this platform or a platform to the left, and it's quite nice to just grab here and then just be able to see where the platforms spawn and go there instead of memorizing the room. But if you want to memorize the room and do a slightly quicker route, then you can do that. But this route's also very quick, as you can see there's 3 jumps. Something to look out for is that a blood bug does spawn here, and usually it will see you. However, a trick that actually does work is to crouch when you're doing the jumps. I have a glitch because of no clip where for some reason I'm just not getting the fans buff anymore. But you can make these jumps while you're crouched. And because of the recent parasite update, mobs really won't see you if you're crouching. Yeah, sneaking is really useful in the campaign, which is really surprising because I never really think that it would be, right? But you can actually hide from the blood bugs, which is quite nice. I don't really see people using that a lot. But yeah, you just get to this button, press this one, grab this, and make it to the end. I'll try showing me just clearing this room. Oh, what the? Okay. What? Yeah, this room. No, mine have a glitch. Do I? Okay, so you go through here. Yeah, I do have a glitch. Alright, sorry, I can't. No, I'll reset. Alright. I've reset my gravity, so what I found out is you actually don't even need to do a dino jump. This whole time I thought you had to, but you can actually make enough height without a dino jump. I'd still suggest a dino jump, it gets you there a little bit faster, but it's not really a biggie. Then you go through here, go like this. Usually the blood bug doesn't see you if you are crouching in that section. Just make it through these. And go into the next room. You may have seen this, it's just a rebar, don't worry, there's not really many useful items. Okay, so for this room, you can kind of see there's 4 different layers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. What you can do here is you grab onto the first layer, and then the second layer, and then straight to the 4th layer. There is a danger in doing this, which is that the blood bug can see you, and if you're standing right here, and the blood bug decides to hit you, you're going straight into this fan and dying. You need to be very careful when doing this skip, because of how dangerous it is, but as long as you listen out for when the blood bug's going to do an attack, and you're kind of ready to hit it with a hammer in case it does, then you're fine. After this room, by the way, for this room, what I like to do is I crouch and then I hold the top part like that. Yeah, once you're in this little part, there is actually a secret over here. I'm kind of undecided whether or not it's worth it, but I think that it's enough to show you guys. There's a guaranteed injector, which I accidentally used, then a guaranteed candy, and 2 food items. So there's a hand scanner if you want to get that. It seems to be a guaranteed hand scanner as well. And then from here, you can do a coyote jump from here to instantly get to the top. I'll show you what happens if you don't do a coyote jump. You still get there, it takes a bit longer. And then from here, you can actually grab this one directly instead of grabbing onto this one and then this one, which I don't see a lot of people doing. And then from here, you can just go off of this one, and I'll show it more continuously. Like that, and then straight to the end. There is a guaranteed rebar rope if you want it. I don't usually bother though. But that's it for that room. Then for this room, you can see right here, very dangerous if you get sucked in. My biggest tips for this first section of the room are, if you have a blink eye, you can teleport through this. That brings you about here, and then from here you can use another item to get to the end. and then you can just go straight to the end, and it's like a really fast room if you have a blink eye. But if you don't have a blink eye, what I'd suggest you to do is go here, try to jump off of these handholds without touching the ground because it makes you go a bit faster, and then just aim for grabbing these staircases. I used to sometimes die to this room when I was trying to grab all these rebars and stuff, which is a bit dangerous because it kind of randomly moves you to the sides, but this entire staircase is a handhold, so just grab this staircase and you're going to be safe. That's it for that section. Don't know why I'm suddenly throwing raw notes. Then you just go up here, and that brings us to this section. There's a blood bug that like always sees you right after going through here. What I see most people doing for this room is they'll just go through this vent, spam jump and you go a bit faster. There's an injector chance there. Then you just go through like this. Remember to keep spamming jump. Okay, that was a glitch. I accidentally pressed no clip there. I don't know why it does that when I press no clip, it just sends me to the abyss. Anyway, go like this, and then grab this top part here, and you can be inside this and just grab like that. It gives you enough height, and just reach to the end. There aren't really any other items in this section, but what I will show you is that that's not the only route you could have taken. There's also a route here, which is maybe as good as this first route, and then there's a route up here, which I think is the worst of the three routes, and then there's actually a very high chance of an injector up here. So if you're right here, you can get to this injector pretty quickly, and then just drop down and then go into this and complete the room. But that's pretty much it. If you're curious about what is in this second vent that makes me think that it might be a contender, it's this secret room here, which has some guaranteed pills and rebar. I personally think it's just not quite as good, but you can try that route if you want. That brings us to the next room. These rooms, there's this room, and then there's a room just after it, which is very similar, except it has two holes, and then it doesn't have a button, but it's periodic when the fans turn on and off. Anyway, for this room, what I like to do is I just grab one of these tentacles and hit it up. And you can spam jump with the barnacles like that, but you got to be really careful, because I almost just died to the fan just now. Then you just hit the button, go up, go around the red strip here, gets to a pretty high chance at a food bar, gets you to the next room. But something I should mention is that in this room there are some guaranteed rebars at the bottom, as well as on this second ring right here there's two food items, which is be pretty useful considering Air Exchange doesn't really have a whole lot of stamina items. This one's quite vertical, so you can't really do any wall jumps, but it's a very quick one, and you just press the button, get to the end. This next room is basically just the worst version of that room. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, for that other room, as well as this one, there's like a guaranteed blood bug spawn that is, that's pretty much right here. So when you go through this ring, you're almost guaranteed to get noticed by it. You can just hit it into the wall or something. It's pretty simple to deal with, but just it's guaranteed. It's always going to see you. Sometimes they'll spawn like way up here and you can try go the other route, but it's not really worth your time to analyze that stuff. Anyway, so from here, both of these sides are pretty much identical. I've tried to find any differences in them, but you can see just how similar there are. There's no item spawns or anything, as far as I can tell, so really just go to whichever one's closest to you. You can just grab like this. For this room, you can see that the wall's kind of slanted and I can do some wall jumps like this. So I can jump without holding anything or being grounded. Yeah, I'm not really going to show you the whole, just me climbing that room. But once you're here, these fans can randomly start and stop. well, not randomly, periodically start and stop. And I don't know why it's not starting, but in like a normal run, they will like start maybe every 10 seconds. You just gotta wait. Though what I have found out is that you can actually survive while the fans are running if you're standing like right at the bottom when you're crouched. It's not very useful information, but it's cool. Something good to know is that even while the fans are running, if you hold a blink eye and you aim it like just above the red ring, you can actually survive and teleport through these while they're spinning. I've somehow broken the game with cheats, but yeah, usually they have done several cycles by now. Then you can just like run along here, almost guaranteed food bar right there. And anyway, that brings us to the next room. So this room, you can recognize it quite easily with the ladder, and then there just isn't a fan above. When in the other rooms that did have a ladder, they did have a fan up there. Alright, so for this room, you can see this light here. There's actually a pretty good chance at a food bar spawning, so you can just take that and then just run along this little red strip before activating that button as soon as you can. And then what I'm going to do here is just get to this platform as immediately as possible, jump at the last second so you can barely make it to these handholds, and then go like this. Usually this room's very slow, but if you learn how to do that trick, it becomes a much faster room. You get to skip like 2 cycles of these just turning around, or maybe 1 cycle, whatever. It's about 10 seconds. There's also a note here. Don't know why I keep showing these. There's a food spawn, but personally I don't really think it's worth going all the way over there. Oh yeah, the grub I took just now. Well, this is about a 1 in 4 chance at a grub. After going up here, you can just hold onto here, check if it spawns, take it if you want. That's basically it. Alright, on to the next room. This is the last room of Air Exchange. This region is not very big. There are no item spawns in this room, literally none. I've looked, they just don't exist. This room looks quite intimidating, but it's actually one of the easiest and simplest rooms to clear in the game. You just go along this ladder, and well, either you'll get lucky and the fan is not blocking you, but if it is blocking you, that's why you use the ladder and go to the side, because what you can do is if you go off of this ladder and then you grab these handholds and then you grab onto this part, you can go early enough so where you can get through this in time. But if you go just from like this handhold and then go as soon as possible, you just don't quite make it past. Like, maybe if you like run a task or something, you could get there fast enough, but I've tried for a while to get that to work, and it just doesn't, so that's why you want to go through here, and then you can skip a whole cycle of this just turning around. That brings you to the end in like 10 seconds for like an 80-meter room. This room's just really fast and easy to clear. It's quite fun. It doesn't give you any items though, which is crazy. But that's it for this room. I'm just gonna restart the run. And yeah, that's it for Air Exchange. I hope that you learnt something. I did not have fun with this video. I had fun for the other videos, but I hate Air Exchange. I want nothing to do with it. It sucks. Some of the region's fun, some of the level design is cool, but I hate how the blood bugs are with the fans. When you hit a blood bug and it goes underneath the fan, it's the most annoying feeling ever. As well as I just don't like the parkour with the fans in general. It just feels weird, and I don't like it. Yeah, from this point in this video, I'm basically just gonna ramble about Air Exchange. So some of the rooms are quite fun. Like this room, for example, it's okay. It just feels a bit bland, boring, and kind of annoying compared to some of the other regions. And I mean, you can see how similar these rooms look. I feel like Deep Storage actually has much more variety in the rooms than Air Exchange. Though, I mean, there's stuff like this that's pretty cool. I don't really like the climbing, and for most people, for most speedrunners anyway, when they see Air Exchange, they'll just reset the run because it's only like 300 meters that they need to climb again to reset and try to get shuttered chambers. That's pretty much it. I hope if the devs are watching this or anything like that, that they add some more rooms to Air Exchange and kind of. I hope that they rework how these turning fans work, like these ones, just change how the hitbox works. And also, for the love of God, fix the blood bug pathfinding. It sucks ass. You hit a blood bug, I can't tell if it's about to hit me in 0.1 seconds or if it's about to just completely forget I even exist. But you can't take the risk, so you just have to spend 10 seconds knocking it back. Super annoying stuff. Alright, that's about it. I hope you have fun playing White Knuckle with the new information that you have been blessed with. Peace out.